Hi everyone, so I'm back already. So this is my experience from the summer of 8th grade, like going into 9th grade until today. So yeah, so I graduated in 2011, I think, 2010 of 8th grade. So yeah, or I think I'll actually talk about my 8th grade graduation too. Because in my school it was the end of 8th grade to graduation. So I was like in and out of the hospital a lot during the end of 8th grade. And so I was slowly slowing down of going to the hospital and stuff, and it was slowly getting better for the time being. And so I decided like I wanted to graduate, like it was a big deal. I was at that school from kindergarten, and it's literally a big deal if you make it all those years, all those 9 years, and graduate. So I went to school the last day, and in the morning we practiced like walking down the aisle and what we would do and stuff like that to get our diploma. And so I did that, and that was fine. It was a little awkward seeing my friend that I had to fight with, and because I blamed her for the longest time until that day. That she was the one who like put me in the hospital, and now I know that like only I can put myself in the hospital and all that. So yeah, and then we also had like a breakfast brunch thing. It was like a big deal. So I talked to her about that, and so we kind of patched things up for the most part. And so yeah, and then so afterwards I thought it was kind of hard to call my mom and stuff to get home and stuff. So I was trying to go with the flow of the day because it was the last day of school. So so we were watching the CD of like that. I don't know who made it, but like the school made it for us and like our K through 8th experience, and it was supposed to be like happy, sweet, looking back at all the good times. It was the opposite for me because I had to step outside. They gave it because it was just hard seeing all those kids like grow up together and stuff, and I was this shot, like if I were smart in my school, then I would have been the geek. But I wasn't smart. Like by 8th grade, I started getting into books and I started reading more, and like I do now, and because I had a big surgery in middle of 8th grade, so in December I had a surgery on my full leg, so I started getting into reading and stuff, and that's when I really read the Twilight series. So I read the Twilight series on crutches. Awesome story. Yeah, I'll tell you about that some other day. But yeah, so I was like the shy, quiet girl who's like the outsider, and all the kids kind of knew I was the outsider because I was. So I was standing. So I couldn't even watch the end of the video, and they gave it to us like to take home or whatever, and I've never watched it throughout these 2 years. Like, I'm coming closer to realizing that I'm going to watch it closer to someday, but yeah. So then my mom ended up picking me up, and then later that day when we had the graduation, I wore a pretty dress, and there was also a graduation dance. I was going to go to that, but I ended up not going to. It was hard, the graduation. I still remember it. We did it at a high school, inside the auditorium of a high school, and I liked the graduation, like the actual sitting on stands, handing your diploma, graduation. It was sad, it was hard, because like the vice president at the school was like gave a speech, and I was just sad. It was sad for me, but then I ended up not going to the dance because it was just too hard, and so we just went to Applebee's instead and had a family dinner. And it was fine with me. I mean, I thought I'd regret it later, but, you know, it was a dance. I mean, the graduation I probably would have regretted if I didn't go. So then, during the summer, that was hard for me, but I was still going to enroll in a charter school. So, a charter school is basically a high school with fewer students. And it's like a raffle type drawing. And so I already was enrolled in that and all that. So my friend Allison, she's the dwarf, she was going to that charter school too with me. So I was excited. And so then they had 2 to 4, I forget, 2 to 4 orientation days. So I went to that and I was really excited. Less people at the school. It was still a little crowded for me, but almost every place is crowded for me. But then, so the first 4 days of the school I went. But then, as the 4 days rolled by, I started getting more depressed. The 4th day, I told a friend of mine that I was either going to die or be in the hospital that day, the next day, because I was depressed about something. I was in the hospital. And I never fully came back to that school. So I was in the hospital in and out, and I got homework from the teachers and stuff like that, and I was also in a treatment. I was in a treatment center, Edgewood. So it was I was there for 2 weeks, and yeah, so I was there for 2 weeks, and then I came back, and I couldn't fully, everyone knew that I couldn't fully be in high school. So what they did is they're okay, so we're going to start little by little. So I came to their school after school, and I would study for half an hour to 2 hours. 2 hours was an excellent day for me. And so I ended up doing that, and they were trying to figure out where I should go. And that's when I found that Chief Kids, the school I'm at now, it's a regular person who knows nothing about mental health would say it's a crazy house. It's not a crazy house. It's just a place where special needs kids go. And by that time, I was already classified as I had depression and anxiety. I had all the meds that basically my meds were how they are now. Yeah. So they decided that I was going to go there, and so I started there. So I did an orientation day. It was an hour or something, and I loved it from the first start. I felt like I was at home because everyone was so nice. And so that was February of a year and a half ago. So yeah, I've been there for a little over a year and a half. So I started right after Valentine's Day, and my mom got me a notebook, because I love to write down my experience and stuff like that. So I was very excited. And what it is how the school hours are. There's only 50 kids in the whole entire school. There's 2 campuses, one in Palo Alto, one in San Jose. And yeah, most of the kids are have some kind of autism. I don't. And so yeah, so that's where I'm going right now, to school and stuff. I'm trying to transfer out. So basically how that was is, before I went to that school, I was the nice, perfect, sweet girl, the teacher's pet at school. And then I came home, I was my regular self. But at this school, it was kind of impossible to do that. and go to school every day because of my emotions and all that. So it was different. Like, my mom and I have been talking about this, like, lately, like, how this school has changed my life. And it was like, they didn't care if I cut myself, like they did. And they would, because every day I come home with this, an eval. And what it is it's a sheet of telling your parents how your day went. So when the students get to school, and if you're in mental health, you've probably seen this before or something like this before. Your name goes right here. My last name is something, so Tori B. And so they are all printed out for you. So the kid, in my class, the kid writes the date, and this was yesterday's. And then you write if you were late, yes, no, or it doesn't apply. So if you were like at a doctor's appointment or something, you would write doesn't apply. And then you write if you got your eval, which is this evaluation. So if you got yesterday's yes, no, or it doesn't apply, like you weren't there or something. Homework, yes, no, or doesn't apply. And it's like if you don't have any, then you put doesn't apply. If you can't do it, whatever. Then everyone takes the van because nobody really drives, because it goes from ages 5 to like 21. That's why it's called Chief Kids, because you're not really a kid at 21 anymore. So bus, yes, no, or doesn't apply, like if your parents drove you. But if you like refuse to get on the bus, then it's no. So then each person, this part is like different. Mine recently got changed the beginning of this year. I have crying incidents, numbers 1, 2, and 3, and then duration, like how many hours or how many minutes or whatever. And then it shows my schedule, and then it shows like the score that you got. So number 1 is so if you got 5 points, you had a perfect session. So you had a perfect period or whatever. So I'm like a perfect. I've gotten all 5s. And it was an early day, so that's why I didn't get any score right there. So that's how my school does it. And they also say, like, what you did to earn those points. Like, I earned a 5 because I checked in, or I earned a 5 because I talked to up here. And then you have, right down here, your parents have to sign it. Because everyone who goes to the school doesn't, like, even if they're over 18, they have their parents, like, not control them, but their parents are their guardian still. So I should cover that. I have, like, congratulations, they do comments or homework assignments, talked, like, this is their communication through the parents. So yeah, so I get that every day. And so I'm trying to get out of the school, like I said, because I have been doing good, and I haven't been in the hospital in over 6 months. And so I really like that school. It's completely changed my life. Over all the therapists, all of it, it's just completely changed my life. So I'm trying to go to a regular high school, because I really want to study hard and stuff and get into a good college. So yeah, that's really it of how, like, just overall my take through 10th or 11th grade. So I'm on break right now. So yeah, that's where I've been and stuff, and so that's it. Bye bye.